Broken system chained and tangled up in broken system chained and tangled up in lies. Voices shouting, screaming in defeat. Politicians playing games under darkened skies. Hope lost in the dust of the street. Red and blue colors pouring from the sky. Debates turn to anger, oh, the crowd gets loud. Punches flying in the blink of an eye. Truth buried deep beneath the shroud. Welcome to the bullpen, where we will survive. These broken dreams we defend, trying to keep alive. Faces on the screen, flashing perfect teeth. But behind those eyes, just rotting greed. Politicians turn to whispers beneath. They all just get what they need. Whispering conspiracies, drowning in their lies. Echoes of freedom, lost in cries. Spin the wheel of fate, let's see who rise. But this game will bleed you dry. Welcome to the bullpen, where we will survive. These broken dreams we defend, trying to keep alive. Welcome to the bullpen, where we will survive. These broken dreams we defend, trying to keep alive.
It's always fun watching that highlight reel.
Well, it's another Sunday and it's another episode of the Bullpen. We've got Little Chad here as my co host, and Slender Dad is joining us as the special guest this morning. We've got a lot to go over. Um, we've got the ABC interview. We've got Biden basically just showing his brain rot left and right, and a whole bunch of clips today. So, what do you guys want to start with?
Let's see. We've got.
I mean, you've got more clips than what were in that 2-minute intro, because, oh man,
Oh, that's just the last 4 years.
I want to feel sorry for him, but then, like,
we've got clips from his fun show with
what's
Stephanopoulos.
what's that story we all had to read in high school about the rich guy who surrounded himself with really exceptional people? You know what I'm talking about? He's super rich. He
No.
does parties all the time.
Great Gatsby?
Great Gatsby. He's like the bizarro Gatsby. Like,
I have
go
a
look
feeling-
at those clips and look at the people he surrounds himself with. They're just, oh, they're not exceptional.
No, Jill's horrible. Hunter's horrible. Pretty much all of them are horrible. I mean, it's
Wait a
amazing.
second. Are you saying that a dude who would sleep with his brother's widow, possibly while he was still
I gotta
dying of
jump out
terminal
and jump
cancer,
back in. I'm not hearing Chad again. I'll be back.
All right.
is not a good person, Brahma?
Yes, that is
I-
exactly
yeah,
what I'm
that-
saying.
I think that's pretty much a standard definition of what a terrible person would be. So yeah.
And then while sleeping with his brother's widow, also goes and finds a stripper and has a baby with her. Yeah.
And we're also leaving out the part where he got his brother's widow addicted to crack cocaine.
Oh yeah, there is that.
And then had her like I'm whatever. It's
But that is
terrible.
our new presidential advisor because he's sitting in on all the meetings,
Not just
all the phone
advisor,
calls, and
gatekeeper. He
yeah,
is the key master for anyone wanting to access Joe Biden. Him and Dr. Jill, who there is no love lost between, by the way. If you've read some of the stuff like from Hunter's laptop from hell, he had not so kind words for Dr. Jill Biden many times in that.
what did he accuse her of letting Joe do things with Ashley in
Oh,
the shower?
he called her like useless and said she was an idiot and that
Well, yeah,
you know, I
she's a
think
doctor.
I think he made fun of her being a doctor he was like your community college teacher.
He's like,
You're,
doctors are who I meet in rehab, not you.
yeah, and so yeah, there's the newest reports. I think it's out of Axios. I've got that I think linked up. Let me see in my bookmarks here.
Yeah, because of the sound issues, let's take it off of studio mode and just bring it up
Yeah,
on the live version.
yeah. So Axios. All right, where's my share screen? There.
While you're doing that, we've got Brida Slender, Boosh, Southern Belle. We got a few people in the chat already this morning. Good morning to all of you, or, well, good afternoon, depending on where you're at.
Yeah, I've got the link up to, let's see, add to scene.
I'll bring
Yep,
it up.
there we go. All right. So, yeah, this is at Axios, which was founded by the guys who left Politico to make their own new news service. Hunter, who's serving as de facto gatekeeper to his dad. So, backed by First Lady Jill Biden is, and I love this now, his convicted son, because we're going to add that in there.
Oh,
Says
yeah.
nothing
If they're going to do
besides
it on all of everything they mention about Trump, we're going to say convicted felon on
exactly.
Hunter every time.
This is my favorite thing. So the lead Biden people, which are Hunter and Lady Macbeth over there,
Lady
say that
McBiden.
nothing besides an act of God will persuade him to quit his reelection campaign. And that's because Hunter and Jill are so locked into what they get from him being president that they are not letting that go.
Yeah, Jill.
About an act of the Clinton hit squad. Would that stop him?
That is one thing. I know that Brahma, prior to the knowledge about the money not being transferable, was on the team. Hillary was going to be the choice train, but I do think that the $300 million in fundraising they need to keep their hands on does kind of lock it into Kamala.
Yeah.
You know what's kind of funny about the whole thing, though? Like, the argument is you can't possibly elect Donald Trump to be president. He's a convicted felon. But apparently a convicted felon can be the president's most trusted advisor and basically puppeteer the president. That's not a problem.
Yeah, so it's basically come out at this point that, well, not completely out, but it has been implied that all of the prep for the ABC News disaster of an interview was Hunter advising Joe on the ABC News interview. That's who he trusts to be talking to him right now about how to handle interviews and media.
He probably only trusts Hunter because he's the only one he recognizes.
Well, there is that. There is also, I don't think anybody wants to be anywhere near him from the White House staff to try to coach him in any way.
Hunter's basically running the country for the next 6 months. How terrifying is that?
Well, next 6 months or until he steps down. Because if it is Kamala, they're going to have him step down before, she'll basically be president.
They have to
running as president, because you can't say that he's unfit to run a campaign, but not unfit for the presidency right now.
Not to mention, they're going to want it. Kamala is uniquely not talented as a politician. I mean, we can go into the history of how she rose through the ranks by going low, to use Michelle Obama's term.
Going on the knee pads.
Yeah, her and Willie Brown. Like that's some when people were talking about Kamala coming into the race, or even Gavin Newsom. I think people who don't pay attention don't realize how skeezy their backgrounds are that would be exposed if either one of them were put into that position. Like Gavin Newsom, he was married to Kimberly Guilfoyle
Mm-hmm.
and had issues there. He slept with his campaign advisor's wife and had to give a press conference about it while governor.
Yep.
I mean, these are, and because it's California, he can get away with that. He's also one of the elite families out of California. There's, dynasties over there that are involved with their politics. But if he went national, that kind of stuff starts getting played. And as much as we don't like, Joe Biden, he had enough history with being an old time Democrat that there's a lot of older union guys who kind of were just like, oh, it's okay, it's Joe. But if it was Gavin Newsom, they would go for Trump because given the, it breaks the other way, and they're terrible people. But Kamala, oh, they're gonna need to give her the I guess prestige of being president, being the actual active president, Madam President, right?
Yeah.
In order to try to give her some kind of gravitas boost. It's really just Veep in real time.
Well, and that may be the only win that they could, as they see it, that they can take out of this is that, well, we did have the first black female president.
And then they would also say Indian. They would check. They would use her to check every
Jamaican, Indian, everything.
Yeah, mix. It was female, so it'd be female
from their own
Jamaican,
playbook,
Indian.
right? One of their things they love to do is, if that is the case, her presidency will have a big asterisk next to it.
Yeah, I mean, but there have been two incumbent Democrats that have stepped down, at least in the last 80 years.
We had Lyndon Johnson in '68 when he saw that he wouldn't win.
Correct.
So he left before before they even did the primary. Prior to that, I don't think there was another Democrat who stepped down. I mean, Nixon resigned.
Now, here's an interesting question.
Now, if you're thinking Teddy Roosevelt was Republican, he took over and could have ran for another term because he wasn't limited because he had, taken over after the assassination. And they didn't have the amendment restriction at the time of 2-term limits. He ran in 1912 under the Bull Moose and split the ticket enough that we got Woodrow Wilson. So
right.
But
well,
if the issue with having Joe Biden not step down is that the money can't be used for the Biden-Harris campaign, can you theoretically slot Harris in as VP for somebody else to keep using that money?
They would have to. She has to move. Like the way it's structured, it's almost like taking over the presidency. The person at the top of the ticket is no longer capable. So the person who's your VP, there's statutory rules to slot them up as the replacement.
Yep.
But
so the money can cascade down, but it can't cascade up.
Correct. It has to be someone who's already on the ticket. Like Trump on right now, because he hasn't named and they haven't officially set up a second, a VP, doesn't have anyone who could take over his spot. But it's also, for the fundraising, because someone could be nominated as the Republican nominee, but all these hundreds of millions of dollars that Trump has raised, especially since that conviction, would be basically lost to it would become a Trump trust for his campaign. Like if he ever ran again, that's the weird thing. Our campaign finance laws allow that candidate to transfer and roll over funds that they raised for one job that they were running for to another. You'll see that happen when somebody who was a governor of a state will start running for like senator, and they have that campaign cash like vault that they just roll right over into
the war fund.
Yeah, the war chest, and they'll move it right over. That's why incumbency is such an advantage for even running for new offices.
So you can roll over state fundraised money for federal positions?
If you were the candidate and raised it, and then you can roll it over into the new position you're running for.
That's messed up because like a lot of it was the same thing with DeSantis, right? Like everybody, the big argument was, why are you running for governor? We know you're going to run for president. You're going to run for president,
Yep.
and then you're going to
He
bail on us.
he rolled his war chest from that he had raised that he had extra into
So you
his
could take all your
presidential.
loyal citizens' money and spend it on something that basically means, hey, I'm quitting, and I'm taking all the money you gave with me.
Now, the other thing is we also have a financial loophole where you can roll it into a pack that you set up to be an issues pack as a candidate.
Yeah.
And so, like, individual candidates, if they bomb out, will roll their money into a political action committee that they can then use to support issues, when I say in quote, because you're not allowed to support individual candidates. You can't come out and say vote for Trump, but you could run ads about how terrible Biden is on energy policy. And so,
With
Biden's
this message
terrible.
brought to you or approved by.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have to be technically it has to be an issue attack and not promoting a specific candidate as the person to vote for. But
Well,
they've
you're
got
only allowed to donate a certain amount to a candidate too, right? But the PAC can donate as much as it wants.
yeah,
to an
PACs have
issue.
unlimited contribution thresholds. Yeah, it's 2,500 I think is the individual limit for a federal campaign.
Yeah, because that one Indian dude got like arrested by the Obama campaign and then charged with every kind of fraud and put in prison. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah, the one who did the 2,200 mules and
Yeah, he's done some pretty good documentaries.
Yeah, that Bell's right. That is exactly why donors are asking for a refund right now.
Because then they can recontribute to whoever the people who
want
to
contribute to not Kamala Harris
that they're getting.
Yeah, so if the people who are in favor of an open convention style fight to put in a replacement, they would ask for their money back so that they would be back within their ability to donate to the new nominee.
Yeah, I
Dinesh
wonder if we could
D'Souza,
see a
that
whole
was
bunch
his
of
name.
donors having an issue with taxes because they contributed before the new year and wrote it off as a contribution or a charity.
I don't think political contributions can be written off.
I don't know.
They're not a charity.
It's got to come off the books somehow.
Well, you document it, like the FEC. That's one of the ways the Obama and Biden type White Houses make Republicans fear, because when you make a contribution, the Federal Election Commission publishes like every quarter a candidate publishes their fundraising, and if you read the attachments, it actually has every individual person's name in there, and that becomes basically the list of who government will come down on if you went to the wrong people.
Right.
Well, so yeah, if you donated to Democrats, the IRS is going to let you do whatever you want in your tax return. And if you donated to Republicans, you're getting audited.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Since we brought up Kamala's sordid past, let's take a look at President Trump's tweet. Well, Truth Social, whatever they call those. From July 4th.
I think they call them.
Truth bomb.
He had no problem bringing it up. Happy 4th of July to all, including to our highly incapable president who uses prosecutors to go after his political opponent, who choked like a dog during the debate, but tried to pretend it was international travel, only 12 days rest. And when that gig was up, he blamed it on a cold. Therefore, why would anyone say he's cognitively challenged? Also, respect to our potentially new Democrat challenger, Laughin' Kamala Harris. She did poorly in the Democrat nominating process, starting out at number 2 and ending up defeated and dropping out even before getting to Iowa. But that doesn't mean she's not a highly talented politician. Just ask her mentor, the great Willie Brown of San Francisco.
Ooh.
Someone else that I have to compliment is a deranged Biden prosecutor named Jack Smith, who has become a legend in his own mind for all those cases he's lost. The corrupt prosecutors are working hard for Crooked Joe, but it will never be enough. Make America great again. That's a Yeah,
That's a truth bomb.
Everything there is 100% factual and true. I mean, you can't argue with it.
Let me just take a
he
second
called her highly talented and mentioned Willie Brown.
Yeah, to take a second, Jack Smith, right? The special prosecutor.
Scumbag. Let's just call him a scumbag.
Yeah, the scumbag. Well, he Slender, because you might remember this from residing in Virginia at the time. The reason they took Jack Smith for this role is because they knew exactly how he would do things, because he did it before once. He kneecapped a potential thorn in the Obama administration side named Bob McDonnell, who was governor of Virginia. Highly popular, won he was a Republican and he won Northern Virginia. Like Fairfax actually voted for him over the Democrat.
Well, that's why they said that Fairfax, or not Fairfax, but they said Loudoun was a purple county. I'm like, Loudoun's pretty freaking blue.
Yeah.
But
but Bob McDonnell,
he locked down Loudoun.
Yeah, so he was, and he had a. If you remember, he was the guy they did the first State of the Union response against Obama with, where he actually did it at the Virginia State House, and it was probably the only effective State of the Union response the Republicans have done in 15 years. And so he was a rising star who they were genuinely worried about. So what did they do? They issued Jack Smith as a federal prosecutor at the time for the DOJ, came in, and he charged McDonnell and his wife with bribery for basically for promoting Virginia business interests in Virginia. All things, by the way, they admitted were perfectly legal in Virginia. Like he was allowed to do all the things he was doing under Virginia laws for politicians. And so they made, and this might sound familiar, they found novel interpretations of the federal statutes to bring federal bribery charges under the auspices that somehow, because Virginia took some federal money for their budget, they were able to charge him under the bribery statutes of the federal government. And they got a conviction, and they destroyed his political career.
And this is something I think a lot of younger people don't realize, but like as you get older, you start to notice it. Everything that's happened in the last couple of election cycles, it's been going on for decades now. It's become more and more brazen. Every 4 years, it gets a little more out in the open than it was even last time, because it worked last time. So
that's the thing with Jack Smith, though. When eventually it got appealed to the Supreme Court, it took a couple years. It took years, obviously, because it has to wind its way through, and the DOJ kept appealing. The Supreme Court, which is supposedly so compromised, was a 9-0 decision that Jack Smith basically created new laws where there wasn't any, and they overturned the conviction and told him to go pound sand because he was being ridiculous.
Yeah, he doesn't have a track record.
But he did what he was supposed to do.
Yeah,
right? Like he had already accomplished the goal.
So that's why, as soon as it came out that they were going to appoint Jack Smith to be the quote unquote special prosecutor, anybody who had been paying attention, at least in Virginia, knew exactly how this was going to go. Jack Smith's job wasn't to actually investigate or prosecute real crimes. It was to kneecap the political opponents so that they were compromised and couldn't run.
Yeah, and muddy the waters.
Now, luckily, Trump had a legitimate good judge on the district court level in Florida who has not been letting Jack Smith get away with crap. And then on the other hand, because Jack Smith charged all the January 6th charges against Trump in the U.S. District of D.C., those go immediately up. So that actually streamlines the process for Trump to get to the Supreme Court, because its U.S. District Court judge in D.C. immediately goes right above them as the D.C. Appellate Court, and then right above them is the Supreme Court. There actually are a lot less steps to go through your appeals process, so that's why
you have to go to a state appeals.
Yeah, court. So Trump lucked out that it was because they were so greedy to do it in D.C. Because
they're looking for the conviction.
Because they know that a DC jury is going to convict anybody who voted for Trump.
Yep.
So that's the background of Jack Smith. I just wanted to take a moment to give people that, since I don't think it gets talked about enough.
Well, that, and he wasn't actually legally appointed to this position.
Nope. And Judge Cannon down in Florida is getting
not happy with that.
She's actually Trump's people filed a brief just this week citing Clarence Thomas's concurring opinion on the presidential immunity case, where Clarence Thomas basically laid out the groundwork that Jack Smith has no official capacity to be a special prosecutor.
Right.
No,
Basically
he went one
signaling.
further than that. He said it may be illegal.
Yeah.
The
He's
appointment
signaling
of
that if you get
Jack
this
Smith
up
could be
before
illegal.
us, this is the decision that I'm going to make.
Yep.
But I mean, that's a signal to the lower courts. You better take care of it before it gets to us.
Like he didn't say it's not legitimate. He said it's not legal.
Well, no Senate approval. He wasn't supposed to be able to be appointed as a special prosecutor because of his position within the DOJ. I mean,
Which is why
there's
he
numerous
left that
issues.
position.
Yeah, there's numerous issues on why he cannot be doing what he's doing. But
well,
since
the
when do
argument they
rules matter
keep
for
making
Democrats?
is it's just a coincidence. No, nobody planned for me to leave my position at the DOJ. I just decided it was time for a change of scenery. Yes, 2 days later, I got a call from these people asking if I wanted to do this thing that I couldn't do while I was a member of the DOJ. But we didn't plan this. It's the timeline just coincidentally laid out.
Nobody
Perfect.
leaves the number 3 spot as in the Department of Justice with a federal benefits and federal pension and being paid a really high wage. This guy would have been a GS like 13, 15, step 10 to go be a frontline prosecutor in the Manhattan
and not even
attorney general,
not even the lead attorney.
Yeah,
just an advisor.
He was there to give them the brief that they had come up from their lawfare powwow on how to do this.
Yeah,
and then it magically got put onto Judge Mershon's docket, who managed to get every Trump case. How's that work on there's Manhattan doesn't have 3 judges like random counties in the Midwest. Manhattan has dozens and dozens of judges who are supposed to be in a random rotation of case assignments, and Judge Mershon managed to somehow get all the Trump cases. Now, he did abstain recently from the Bannon one, I think because it started becoming so obvious what he was doing, plus he had already done his job with Trump. That was the main thing they needed. So he was like, oh, I'm going to recuse myself from the Bannon case. So that can go to somebody else. So it's pretty obvious. Do we have some more Kamala things to check out? Nope. Did I lose Brahma's audio?
Well, we lost Brahma's audio.
I figured before we jump into the Biden interview clips, we should just remind everybody about Kamala. This is an older clip back from the presidential town hall. But yeah, this is the person that they're going to try to put in charge of the country. At least we think. So give me just a second. I got to find out where I actually had the play button at.
Bottom left?
No, I've got so many freaking tabs open, I can't find it.
All right. Well, this is why you brought on a guest, right? I'm supposed to fill this dead air while you find your play button?
I'm just hoping that we get a trademark Kamala cackle.
We'll get back to that in a second after I
nails
find
on the
where
chalkboard?
I took it from, because
there was a super cut
I'm
of
sharing screen without being able to see where I'm sharing the screen from.
I saw on
there it is.
Twitter, somebody put a super cut of her like just cackling for 4 straight minutes, and
I hate her laugh.
Oh yeah, I don't want to hear that. So, all right.
Leaders have to lead, and
plastic straws are a big thing right now.
Yeah.
Do you ban plastic straws?
I think we should. Yes. I mean, look, I'm going to be honest. It's really difficult to drink out of a paper straw when if you're just like, if you don't gulp it down immediately, it starts to bend.
That's
and then,
that's an interesting thing for her to talk about.
Kind of perfect that one a little bit more.
She's like, I'm really good at gulping things down.
I mean,
you got to work that thing while it's still hard.
Innovation is a process, right? You don't just do it. Innovation is a process, but let's encourage innovation, and I think we could do a little bit better than some of those flimsy plastic straws, but we do need to ban the plastic.
All right, we're going to have much more with Senator.
Leaders have to lead, and
plastic straws are a big thing right now.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Aaron Brown is like cut to commercial immediately.
Leaders have to lead.
This is the person that they want in charge. Well, not want necessarily, but they're stuck with.
Dude, here's my thing, right? And somebody's gonna get mad at me for this. I get plastic straws are kind of a problem. Like there's a lot of plastic. We're kind of overusing the plastics. But why paper straws? Like metal straws work.
No,
So
what I really love is when you get your plastic straw or your paper straw in the plastic
wrapper.
Yeah,
wrapper.
yeah. You've saved so much by doing that, right?
Well,
We
here in
also,
Colorado, they made a law that you cannot use plastic bags for grocery shopping.
do they still
And yet,
do they let you bring paper bags back? Are they a thing?
yeah, they have paper bags now. So the whole thing about the trees, that's apparently gone. But at the same time, we have, our reusable bags that we had to purchase. And what am I doing? I'm putting a whole bunch of things that are encased in plastic into a reusable bag. Almost everything you get at the grocery store is, encased in plastic in some way or another. It's like, so we're getting rid of all the plastic by putting all the plastic just not in plastic bags, which I actually reused because they were the trash bag for the car or, whatever. There were lots of uses
Dude, trash
for
bag. If
the
I had to
plastic
scoop the
bags.
litter box, I didn't have to bring the
Exactly.
whole trash can over. I just grab one of the plastic bags. Like, there's a lot of uses for those things.
But it's like, I'm having in the few cases where I have the worker at the grocery store actually do their job and check me out, it's like, so do you guys see anything weird here about I'm not allowed to have plastic bags, but everything that you just scanned is in plastic? Yeah, we don't get it either. I mean,
Well, and a lot of it is like multiple layers of plastic. Like if you buy a box of the instant noodles, right? Like the really instant ones that are in the little square print.
ramen.
Yeah, it's a cardboard box with a plastic shrink wrap over it that once you pull away, they're individually plastic wrapped ramen cubes, you
Yeah.
know?
Yep. It it's insane the lengths they will go to try to make things, more environmentally friendly when it doesn't do anything. It's just them, virtue signaling again. The
Dude,
paper
the biggest
straws
way
and
you can
stuff.
save the planet is get rid of plastic bottles. Go back to glass. It tastes better anyway.
Yeah, but I don't want the increased cost, especially with the inflation right now.
Well, why
Plus,
does it cost more? I don't understand that.
paper straws, by the way, are actually they've now determined worse for the environment than plastic straws because the chemical process they use to try to make paper straws firm enough for Kamala's, extreme gulping capability, actually when it then gets thrown away starts seeping in and causing damage. And they're not necessarily very hygienic for people to be drinking out of them with those chemical processes being used to treat them. So it's
I just find
it's
it
a
crazy
stupid
because the
idea.
whole argument was we have to go to plastic bags because we're destroying the trees to have paper bags.
Yeah.
And then they're like, "Oh, no, to save the environment, we've got to get rid of plastic bags. Let's go back to paper."
Not to mention paper bags, if you are going to push recycling, are almost 100% recyclable when plastic bags were never even, and it was known when they pushed that change initially that you can't really recycle them very effectively.
Well, and stuttering guitarist makes a good point too. Like, oh, we got to start doing plastic to save the trees. Oh, plastic's bad for the environment. Let's go back to paper. Oh, we're out of trees because we've slashed and burned entire forests to make way for our solar panel farms because solar is such a reliable alternative source of energy. You just need 80 square miles to make enough to power, a city block.
Yep.
We're stupid. We
It-
we
Yeah,
we literally go
it's-
for
and
what's the
smoking is not
dumbest
good
way
for
to
you,
solve
too.
this problem.
Yeah, well, the paper straws is all because some eighth grader or 8-year-old, one or the other, I can't remember what it was, did that report about the turtle that was found with the plastic straws in its nose.
Maybe
there
that
were no
turtle
actual studies
needed to
done.
go.
It was just some kid found a picture online, and that's where California decided, yeah, we're going with this.
Oh, I'm shocked that California would prescribe policy based on an emotional response and not a rational, logical analysis of a situation and the best possible solution.
Turtle was on.
Stuttering guitarist. That turtle was on coke. Its name was Hunter. Likely. But he was doing Parmesan.
Well, yeah.
Let's jump into the ABC interview.
The one that was going to save his candidacy and assuage all fears and doubts. Did you know he invented microchips?
He did.
The only thing I've heard is it didn't go well, so I'm going into this blind. I'm excited.
Okay, well, I think you'll like it. So let's pull in some of these clips and have a good laugh.
Well, that is true, but 2020 was a close race, and your approval rating has dropped significantly since then. I think the last poll I saw was about 36%. The number of Americans who think you're too old to serve has doubled since 2020. Wouldn't a clear-eyed political calculus tell you that it's going to be much tougher to win in 2024?
Hit pause real quick.
Not when you're running against a pathological liar.
So this is the new talking point about the debate, and if you've been paying attention, which was, sure, we've got non-compos mentis over here who can't figure out how to tie his own shoes, but Trump lied about everything. So we'd rather have a guy who is only functional 40 minutes a day than this just super liar. And I have yet to see them publish one thing that he actually did lie about in the debate.
Well, I mean, we know that Biden out and out lied about several things, some of which have been debunked to hell and back, but everybody still on that side of the aisle wants to say Trump did. Trump exaggerated a lot of things, got a lot of numbers wrong because he made them bigger, but like...
He spoke Trump.
Yeah, he spoke Trump. We on this side all know that you take Trump seriously, but not literally.
Correct.
But, and
every time he exaggerates, that's where they call out a lie on Trump.
Yep.
But I mean, Biden, the whole thing with not one service member died during my term.
It's been dozens.
Like, do we not remember Afghanistan withdrawal?
Yeah.
Suckers and losers. They're still trying to run with that narrative. Like,
yeah.
And you notice the spray tan, by the way. I'm sure that's Hunter advice right there. Hey, Dad, let's get you a little more color.
You got to look more alive.
Hey, Dad, you're looking a little bit pale. Why don't we turn you a little bit orange like the other guy?
One of my favorite memes post debate was it was a Star Wars Revenge of the Sith meme it was looking at before and after with Biden with the spray tan, and it had Obi-Wan like, you were meant to destroy him, not join him.
Right. Yeah. You were the chosen one. All right, let's finish this one.
Not when he hadn't been challenged in a way that he's about to be challenged. Not when people...
You've had months to challenge him.
Oh, sure I had months, but I was also doing a hell of a lot of other things, like wars around the world, like keeping NATO together.
Can we pause for a second? There's two things I noticed about this, right? One, at the beginning, he looked much like a child with his expression, like he was really excited because he was about to know the answer to the question. And two, when they pulled the camera out and gave you the wide view, it looked like he was in a kindergarten classroom. Like they tried to make him feel more comfortable by putting him in what looked like a freaking kindergarten classroom, complete with the boxed shelves on the side where all the kids could put their shoes in their backpacks.
If you want to highlight Pinochet's last comment all right, so this is true. This is a good point. Like, for as much as we hear about the threat to democracy coming from January 6th and the right, you've got people now they made their bed and they got a lie in it. They put this guy out through the primaries. He had a challenge. He had a Democrat running against him, and they just changed all the rules so that they couldn't even let them vote for him. Biden won. It has all the delegates locked up. these, I guess, moneyed interests like Abigail Disney and Emmanuel, and all these people basically saying we're going to take our money and go home until you replace the candidate that was voted for. Wouldn't that should be a much more distinct elite threat to democracy than anything that they try to say happened on January 6th. These are people basically saying we have money, so you better replace the guy that you voted for because we said so.
That's the corporatocracy.
Exactly.
Over.
Well, and we time kind of, they let everybody see the truth of that when they said, no, the election was not stolen. A collection of rich CEOs and powerful elites fortified the election so that it wouldn't be won by Donald Trump. It's like, yeah, in this context, you're using the term fortified the same way you would use the term stolen.
And that was, they actually put that in Time magazine. They were so proud of what they did.
It's really hard to find that article now too. Like Google will bury it if you try to find it.
General Stanley McChrystal, who was disgraced out of Iraq, but basically his entire specialty was running intel campaigns in insurrection zones, basically to take over hearts and minds and how to circumvent and get the results you needed. And he's applying all that knowledge along with a lot of CIA types who did green revolutions, the color revolutions around the world, and they're applying it to the US system. Very, very troubling.
I mean, they told us exactly what they were going to do.
They're so happy about it. They're so they're like pigs in slop, man. They're just like, look what we did. Look what we can do.
The problem is I don't think it could work again for them in this one, because the
narcissists can't keep a secret. They want you to know, even if they did something criminal, they want you to see it. They want you to see how smart they were. Like, they had to admit to the crime.
Yep.
It's fucking ridiculous.
All right, let's hit this next clip.
Do you dispute that there have been more lapses, especially in the last several months?
Can I run the 110 flat? No. But I'm still in good shape.
Are you more frail?
No.
Oh, come on.
I know you spoke.
Keep my schedule.
You mean his 10 to 3 schedule with a nap time?
I'm capable of working from 10 to 4. Part of that is lunch.
And a nap.
Yeah, I get my nap. I also get an ice cream.
Chocolate chip, 2 scoops with aviators on. Dr. Jill says I can have extra if I'm good.
If I don't make a boom boom in the bed, I get sprinkles on my ice cream.
And when I need to do something that I need to focus on, Hunter comes in and sprinkles some magic dust on my ice cream, and it makes me feel peppy for a little bit. Here's the thing. George Stephanopoulos is on Team Clinton. Like, we've known he's been in on it forever. So this lends credence to Brahma's theory. Normally, Stephanopoulos is as reliable a sweeper as they can get in the mainstream political press to cover Democrat issues. The fact that he actually went hard, if you watch the interview, he did go hard.
Semi-hard.
Yeah. I mean, for Stephanopoulos, hard. Like,
for a Democrat in a supposedly friendly arena. Yeah.
So that makes me kind of buy into more about what Brahma's thinking, that Hillary is on the background making her move, and George was supposed to finish driving the knife home. Like,
yeah, I'm kind of at the point where it's got to be Kamala for the money, or it's Hillary, because she's already done this. I mean, she's already been vetted. Everybody already knows everything about Hillary, and if they think that she can win, she's got a better chance than Kamala. But I don't know, because of the money thing at this point. It's hard to set up a campaign and get the vote out in a 4-month period.
Yeah, Clinton probably would be arguing. I can tell you on just she's probably arguing in background that she would be the only one with enough name recognition to be able to offset the money problem.
And you don't have to worry about the vetting and everything else.
Yeah, and that
everything's already known. It's baked into the cake at this point.
it is interesting that our two most likely scenarios are basically rematches of both of Trump's elections to date.
Which the Democrats believe they won both. And I don't think they won either.
Yeah. And so I'm warming. When I saw Stephanopoulos doing that, I was like, he's only doing this level of, direct confrontation to the president if Team Clinton wanted him to, for their reasons.
He's sticking to a bigger plan.
Well, it's basically, hey, George, we really need you to, not take it easy on him because we really do want to replace him. So do not give him the softballs. We want it to be like an interview you would actually do if you weren't a Democrat hack.
Either that, or they felt that after his performance with the Trump debate, like they needed it to go hard on him to prove to the public that he could handle the hard questions. But
then he would have to handle the hard questions, and he couldn't do it.
Yep. It's a win-win for them.
Yep. Let's jump to the next one. And we've got 4 more. They're all right around a minute. So
Elections are about the future, not the past. They're not yesterday. And the question on so many people's minds right now is, can you serve effectively for the next 4 years?
George, I'm the guy that put NATO together, the future. No one thought I could expand it. I'm the guy that shoved Putin
He just
down.
admitted
No one thought could happen.
to causing
No one
the war.
thought I could expand it. You're the guy who started World War III.
I'm the one who tried to get Ukraine into NATO, which was the hard line that everybody has said for a decade or two would cause the war.
The mid-90s.
Dude, Russia has been saying it since NATO was formed.
Yeah. Ukraine was supposed to be the neutral zone from Star Trek.
Ukraine, Poland, I mean, the basic agreement was there would be no direct border between Russia and NATO. There would be zones of, neutral zones.
Yeah.
And when Ukraine had the largest independent nation stockpile of nuclear warheads post Soviet fall, and that's because the Soviets were sending them in the old days. So in order to get them to give up their nukes, we made a trilateral agreement between Russia, the US, and Ukraine in the 90s. It was Ukraine gives up their nukes. Russia allows Ukraine to be independent. United States guarantees that with security support that Ukraine will remain independent, but the United States promises that Ukraine will never ever be part of NATO and never ever be part of that alliance system and put that at the border with Russia.
And Biden came in and immediately started pushing for Ukraine to be in NATO.
Yep. And the last person who was doing that stuff was Obama, and that's when they took Crimea back.
Yep. Meanwhile, under Trump, Putin behaved. He didn't do anything. So how is Trump a puppet of Putin?
Under W, he took Georgia.
Yep.
Under Obama, he took Crimea. Under Biden, he moved in for the rest of eastern Ukraine. Because honestly, Putin's not an idiot. He doesn't need, there's nothing strategic valuable enough about the western side of Ukraine that he even cares about it.
No, Ukraine was the breadbasket.
He wants the eastern side where it's got the ports and the sea access and also some of the farm capability. And then the western part, he can give a toss about. That can go back to Poland for all Putin cares.
Which is why he's fine with
the lines as they
ending this as keeping the lines where they are right now.
Yep.
The guy that shut Putin down. No one thought could happen. I'm the guy that put together the South Pacific Initiative with AUKUS. I'm the guy that got 50 nations, not only in Europe, outside of Europe as well, to help Ukraine. I'm the guy that got Japanese to expand their budget.
The guy.
So, I mean, for example, when I decided we used to have 40% computer chip, and we invented the chip, that little chip.
He's talking about, I think, towards military defense and support of other countries.
Has anybody been saying, hey, Japan, you need to expand your budget?
Japan's been in a recession since the 90s. So
if they change the JSDF from a defense force into an actual military, they'd have the third largest military in the world tomorrow. Like, they've got plenty. They're investing plenty in their military capacity.
Did they have the population to support that in the next 10 years?
No, but they have
Well, they'll lose
Gundams.
it.
We all know they have Gundams.
We do know they have Gundams.
They-
Like, as
they-
soon as a real war breaks out,
They're gonna come out of little hangars and they're gonna house shit up with their Gundams.
like, if we get invaded by aliens, Japan are the only ones who can save us.
You know, Amuro Ray is gonna pop in to that Gundam that's in Tokyo Harbor, and it's gonna just launch, and we're gonna be like, "Oh, it wasn't just a decoration."
Come on, man! You've seen Pacific Rim. They're freaking. They're gonna kill the kaijus.
But it's like Biden there, like and I know what he's trying to say with the chips. So he's trying to say that the microchip was invented in the United States, and he's trying to say that most of it is manufactured in Taiwan now, but he can't call it Taiwan because, you know, the people who pay Hunter don't like when he mentions Taiwan.
Yeah, you can't recognize Taiwan as a sovereign.
So they
It
passed.
doesn't exist.
One of the things they passed that was bipartisan was what was called the CHIP Act, which was government incentives to basically eliminate taxes for manufacturers to build microchip factories in the United States. And none of them who said they were going to have done it, because what they found out is, as they were, you know, they all, like Samsung and all these other places, said we're going to build these chip factories. And once they started going through the process, the Biden administration started putting DEI requirements on they wanted 50-50 on the construction workers. It needed to be male, female building their factory. And it was like, good luck finding a construction company that has 50-50 male, female worker populations. And if they didn't, they weren't allowed to get their permits to keep building. And so these places have basically said, peace out, we're not going to do it anymore. So we haven't built any factories under this billions of dollars that have been allocated under the CHIP Act. It's exactly up. If anybody was being fair, if George Stephanopoulos was actually, I guess he was really trying to go after him, he would ask him about that. Yeah, I almost did. And say, how many chips have been manufactured in the United States as a result? And the answer is 0.
They're building factories, but they won't be ready until 2026.
They've stopped building them. They've stopped. They're not.
Oh, did we run out of money?
If you don't have access to the rare earth minerals.
Yeah, we have plenty of those in the U.S., by the way. We just can't go after them.
But the other thing that's
funny
funny
is, we might be able
is
to, now that the Chevron decision was made.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
This is what I think he was trying to do with the Japan thing, because we all know that Trump went hard on NATO about investing a certain percentage of your GDP. Yeah.
The 2% that you were required to for defense.
And so I think what Biden was trying to do was go, yeah, see, I'm doing that too, I swear. But he did it with Japan because we know he's not doing it with NATO. Like, it just, everything he does is an attempt to show that he's as awesome as Trump, but it's like he's the Kmart version of Trump with dementia.
It would have been great if he had been like, come on, man, I'm the one who blew up the Nord Stream pipeline. I crippled Europe.
See,
I gave Russia everything it wanted.
Down.
All right, let's jump to the next one. This one is about whether Joe Biden watched the debate afterwards.
Oh, this is one of my favorites.
Did you ever watch the debate afterwards?
I don't think I did, no.
Well, what I want to get at is, what were you experiencing as you were going through the debate? Did you know how badly it was going?
Yeah, look. The whole way I prepared, nobody's fault, mine. Nobody's fault but mine. I prepared what I usually would do, sitting down, as I did come back with foreign leaders or the National Security Council, for explicit detail. And I realized about partway through that, you know, I get quoted, the New York Times had me down at 10 points before the debate, 9 now, or whatever the hell it is. The fact of the matter is that what I looked at is that he also lied 28 times. The way the debate ran, not my fault, nobody else's fault. No one else's fault.
But it seemed like you were having trouble from the first question in, even before he spoke.
Well, I just had a bad night.
What a mess.
I just had a bad night. Come on, man.
You're having another one right now, Joe.
I'm perfectly capable of thinking.
Yeah. My favorite part about that is, like, did you watch the debate? I don't think I did.
Yeah, I don't know
Like,
if I watched
I'm
it.
not sure if I did.
I can't remember last week.
Jill Hunter,
And then
did
you
I watch
start
it?
him off with the question, and his first thing is just mouth falls open, stares off into space for 3 or 4 seconds before he finally starts talking. Like,
Which was also the debate. Every single
hang
time
on.
they showed him.
Buffering.
I'm pretty sure he might have also had an earpiece this time with somebody feeding him something he was supposed to say.
Well, it's a record. I mean, if they really wanted to show what's going on, they should have done it as a live interview. They didn't. They were still editing things, and he's still incapable of giving a straight answer on anything.
That means this is edited to be in the best light possible, and it came out that way.
Yeah, and they kept cutting into the interview and doing commercial breaks and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it was a weird broadcast. Then they just cut off, like in the middle of one of his responses. They just cut the whole thing, and went, okay, so that's President Biden.
That probably was
weird.
when he pooped his pants.
Yeah, that's when he had to get up and leave the room. Yeah. All right, this one is kind of backing that one up.
Let's start with you and your team have said you had a bad night. But your friend Nancy Pelosi actually framed the question that I think is on the minds of millions of Americans. Was this a bad episode or the sign
Look
of
at
a more
that
serious
smile when
condition?
he's trying.
It was a bad episode. No indication of any serious condition. I was exhausted. I didn't listen to my instincts in terms of preparing, and I had a bad night.
You know, you say you were exhausted, and I know you've said that before as well, but you came, and you did have a tough month, but you came home from Europe about 11 or 12 days before the debate, spent 6 days in Camp David. Why wasn't that enough rest time, enough recovery time?
Because I was sick. I was feeling terrible. Matter of fact, the docs with me, I asked them if they did a COVID test because they're trying to figure out what was wrong. They did a test to see whether or not I had some infection, a virus. I didn't. They just had a really bad cold.
Just a real bad cold.
But the important thing about that as well is when they had the meeting of all the governors after the debate, they flat out said, no, he hasn't been seen by a doctor. Then they came back and said, well, I mean, a doctor had a cursory glance over him. I mean, they've even lied to their own governors and their own donor class at that point about whether he was actually sick, whether he had seen a doctor, all that stuff. So he got caught in another lie that I don't think the group of Democratic governors will be real happy that when they flat out asked, so was he actually sick? Did he see a doctor? What's going on there? And they said, no, he didn't see a doctor. And then he's saying, well, the doctors all tested me for COVID and all this crap.
Haven't you been vaccinated 15 times? I wouldn't think you'd have to worry about COVID at this point. Weirdly, it seems the COVID vaccine immunizes you to influenza and the common cold. So I don't know how he got the cold. But...
Right.
And to little Chad's point, too, like, not only is his smile weird, but deployed in the weirdest possible times. Like, his facial expression never correlates to what's happening around him.
Well, it's Ralph Wiggum. It's I'm in danger. Every time a question starts, he starts smiling like, I'm gonna die.
This is fine. I'm okay with the events that are happening.
Jill says I'm a president because I made boom boom at Normandy.
Hunter says I'm special.
Ashley says I'm really special.
Chocolate chip. My butt's been wiped.
Yep.
We got one more from the debate, or from the interview.
It's been a two-man race. Inflation has come down. In those last few months, he's become a convicted felon, yet you're still falling further behind.
You guys keep saying that. George, you know polling better than anybody. Do you think polling data is accurate as it used to be?
I don't think so, but I think when you look at all of the polling data right now, it shows that he's certainly ahead in the popular vote, probably even more ahead in the battleground states. And one of the other key factors there is it shows that in many of the battleground states, the Democrats who are running for Senate and the House are doing better than you are.
Well, that's not unusual in some states. I carried an awful lot of Democrats last time I ran in 2020. Look, I remember them telling me the same thing in 2020. I can't win. The polls show I can't win. Remember 2020, the red wave was coming. Before the vote, I said that's not going to happen. We're going to win. We did better in an off year than almost any incumbent president ever has done.
Oh
boy.
He literally thinks that he is in the lead right now.
Well, and the worst part is, like, if the polls are doing that, it's really bad for a Democrat because the polls tend to be more accurate on the Democrat side. Whereas Republicans, generally, they think if I answer these questions in the polls, I might have an audit from the IRS since we know that's being weaponized against Republicans. So I'm just going to lie or not tell them. So.
Well, and we've talked about it before. The way the polling, that they had to change the polling for certain polls to try to get a more accurate view of it was, how do you think your neighbor is going to vote?
Yep.
And people started being more honest because they didn't want to be accused
of being a
Nazi fascist.
Yeah,
which is why Trafalgar was one of the only polls that called 2016 accurately on the swing states.
Yep.
Well, now, do
you have the polling?
No, but I do want to share one.
Wait, I was going to say there's nothing on screen.
All right, ready? Yep. All right, here we go. This is just my favorite meme out of it.
After the debate, we ran a poll. And every single person we polled thinks that you're a retard. We polled African Americans. They all say you're a retard. Hispanic Americans also think that you're retarded. They call you El Retardo. We even polled actual retarded people. Even they say you sound absolutely retarded. You see where this is going, Mr. President?
Well, I just had a bad night.
After the debate,
yeah, Pleeps had just brought that up in the chat right as we were bringing it up.
Yeah.
Was that the one that Benny Johnson used?
Yeah, it was fun. It just makes me El Retardo. But yeah, now on the polling, this is where I do have. Let me go ahead and share, because I've got up Real Clear Politics has integrated the Bloomberg morning consult poll just dropped, and they are a crazy outlier. They are saying that Biden, after the debate, is now in Wisconsin +3. That somehow after the debate, Wisconsin moved to Biden 3 points. Look at these other polls previous.
Yeah, everybody
Trump
has
+6
Trump
tied. Trump +3.
Yeah.
Like if you go down to see like the historical parts, like Trump. We have Quinnipiac, which is always Quinnipiac is going to give a Democrat about an 8 to 10 point advantage over what the real number actually is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so they had Biden +6, which means Trump is probably actually +2. But you can see they've always, and part of me thinks that this is also a registered voter poll with and people need to start looking at this. The MOE in polling is what's called the margin of error.
Yep.
That means this poll is plus or minus 4%. Because because of the way they did the poll, there's that much range. So the more accurate the poll, the lower the margin of error. You should really, really never want to get a political poll above a 2% margin of error, 2 to 3% is a good poll. Anything above 3%, and when I took the class in college, my professor would basically like, you've got a junk poll that you just wanted to give someone a result they wanted, because you can swing a poll. This is a trash poll. It's a 4% margin of error. So that means this poll means that it could be as much as Trump 48, Biden 43.
Well, what's that one under it mean? Because it doesn't even give you the sample size. It just says RV.
Registered voter.
Yeah, but no number.
Right, but
no number.
Like the others all give you a number.
Exactly. And so it's interesting that you see how many of these polls are still registered voter polls.
Yeah.
Normally
likely voter.
Yeah, LV is likely voter, RV is registered voter. Normally at this point in the campaign, with both candidates already chosen, they would have switched to what's called a likely voter model. That usually happens as soon as both candidates are set, because they start screening for people who are consistent voters in elections and things like that. If pollsters are still doing registered voters, it's because they have no idea what the actual turnout of the election looks like, and like who's going to vote in what numbers.
Well, you don't have the actual nominees at this point, even though we know who it's going to be on the Republican side. I think that's why Trump has not announced his VP, because it would be not beneficial for him to announce somebody if he's going to be running against somebody that is not Biden at this point.
So this is, as of July 7th, which is today, this is the Real Clear Politics average of polls for battleground states. This is where Biden thinks he's winning somehow. Arizona, Trump 5.5. Nevada is not supposed to be a battleground state for a Republican.
Right.
But it is with Trump. Plus 4.5. Wisconsin.
Yeah, I'm surprised it's such a low number in Wisconsin, because Wisconsin got royally screwed over.
Wisconsin is going to be trouble. You may have heard this week that the newly flipped Supreme Court, because they elect their Supreme Court justices in Wisconsin, and Soros pumped a lot of money in the last 2 years to get 2 seats flipped to Democrats, so they now have a 4-3 majority. They went back and just this week overruled a decision from a year and a half ago that now makes ballot drop boxes legal again, even though they are explicitly not allowed under Wisconsin law.
Yep.
I'm kind of glad to hear that Soros is dumping all his money in Wisconsin, though, because it means he's finally done with Virginia. Because, man, he put Virginia over the freaking couch.
No, Soros. Here's
money in there.
Yeah, Soros. These elections cost very little. I mean, Soros put $10 million into Wisconsin.
Yeah,
which isn't that much.
Which is ridiculous, because I think 10 million, I'd be set for life. I'll take a 20th of 10 million and be a happy man. But he's just like, 10 million. That's not much. That's a drop in the bucket for a guy like me.
I'm going to tell you right now that the one state out of this list that they don't even need to really worry about is North Carolina.
Yeah,
Trump is going to win North Carolina solid, like he did both previous times he ran.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
you can get the indicator, because you'll notice that Biden's campaign team is not even planning anything in North Carolina events wise. They just don't. They are legitimately not counting it as a swing state. You'll also notice that Ohio and Iowa are no longer on the swing state list.
Yeah.
Well, where they need to keep an eye out is Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Georgia, because all of those reeked of voter fraud in the last election.
Let's talk about Michigan. Trump plus 0.6.
Yeah.
I think that's where we're going to see whoever is taking the nomination from the Democrats. If it's not Joe Biden, you're going to see Whitmer come in as the VP.
You're gonna
to get Michigan.
Yeah, but here's another
Kamala,
thing.
I think they'll run 2 women, and it'll be Kamala and Whitmer.
The Michigan average is very skewed, because look at these ones they're counting for this average. Trump. Oh, okay. It's Trump, Morning Consult, Bloomberg, Biden plus 5.
Right.
So that one outlying, you can see, skewed it on its own to Trump barely leading. If you go to you can see it was more consistent.
Well, the thing you got to watch for isn't Michigan too. Isn't that the state where the poster board went up over the windows?
No, that was
for
Georgia.
no apparent reason.
That was Georgia.
That was Georgia.
Georgia.
I thought Georgia was where they had the water
yeah.
main break.
No, they did. They said both.
Oh,
Yeah.
both.
Oh,
yeah.
No. Bell's right. That was
or was it Arizona?
Detroit.
Was it Detroit?
Yeah, I thought so. I thought Michigan was where the poster board went up.
Water main break was Georgia.
Yep.
Yeah.
But remember, there's not enough evidence for us to actually launch a full investigation on this. We're not going to hear this case.
Yeah. So I mean, the swing that one poll almost seemed like it was designed to. If I'm conspiratorial, that's Biden world asking for something positive to help the weekend. They're trying to make their decision.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it will be Whitmer as the VP, though.
She's so insufferable too.
Yeah, but they don't care.
Yeah, that's true.
mean,
woman.
Name me
You
a
think it's
Democrat
gonna
that
skip
isn't
Buttigieg?
insufferable these days.
Because Buttigieg checks more boxes again than Whitmer does.
Well, he is a mother. He chest feeds.
Yep. I mean, I don't know if Whitmer is a birthing
That's
person.
child abuse.
But I feel
I'm
like
sorry, it is.
I feel like they're so. I mean, on the one hand, it makes more political sense to really shove the abortion issue down people's throats with what Whitmer did in Michigan.
Right.
But on the other hand, they're so beholden to the alphabet. The idea that they would not use Buttigieg could also open up a flank position from the alphabet people, being like, it's our turn to have somebody now.
But I don't think they can run Buttigieg because, we had huge crises with the explosion on the train that polluted the Ohio River, and everybody was like, where's the Secretary of Transportation in all this? And they're like, oh,
maternity leave.
He's been on maternity leave for a month now, and everybody's like, wait, he wasn't even there? So I don't think, you can run so many ads and just destroy him in 5 minutes because nobody even knew he was gone. He's that useless.
I just don't think they care.
True. At this point, there's any port in a storm, I guess.
Well, let's get Trump's opinion on everything.
Yes.
What did I do with the debate the other night?
Oh, amazing.
Kicked that old broken down pile of crap.
Yeah.
It's a bad guy. He just quit, He's quitting the race.
Is that right?
Yep, I got him out of the race. And that means we have Kamala. I think she's going to be better. She's so bad. She's so pathetic. She's so fucking bad. So
I just can't imagine.
But can you imagine that guy dealing with Putin and the president of China, who's a fierce person? He's a fierce man.
Right.
A very tough guy. And they see him, they probably he can't. But they just announced he's probably quitting.
Good.
Really?
Yeah, that's amazing.
Just keep knocking him out, right?
I like that they released this thinking it was going to make Trump look bad.
Why? Because he said she's so fucking bad?
Yeah, I mean, that's
He's
the thing.
Right.
That's not what they're going after him on. They're going after him saying that that Xi Jinping and Putin are strong men.
They are.
Fact check true. I mean,
yeah, clearly they're running two of the most powerful countries in the world.
But they're going after him, saying, "See, he's in their pocket. He's calling them strong men." And it's like, no. What he said is your side is too stupid and incapable of dealing with them because you're weak.
Well, and it's a great setup. It's almost like he knew he was being recorded too, because it's a great setup. One,
he's handing out cash to people with big tips, and he's showing he's actually not an ass. Yeah.
Well, and he said, I got Biden out of there. He's not going to keep running. It's going to be Kamala now. And you know how when he says that shit, they love to try and make him a liar by going, "Nuh-uh, now we're not going to make Joe quit. We're going to run Joe because you said we wouldn't." Like,
right.
It's so easy for him to just fucking lead them around like a 4-year-old.
Yeah, Barron was sitting in the golf cart next to him.
Dude, that kid is like 6'8". It's
ridiculous. He's huge.
If he's like Rempy size if you put him in skates.
Dude, and Trump's a little soggy around the midsection, but he looks like he lost quite a bit of weight.
Yeah, I think Trump does know he's always being recorded at this point.
I think so too.
Oh yeah.
So it's
he's
prepping for both. He's prepping for both. He's prepping for Biden being not the nominee, and he's prepping for Kamala being the nominee. Like,
no, I'm pretty sure he knows he landed the knockout blow during the debate.
Oh,
I don't even know what he said at the end of that sentence, and I don't think he does either. That was a death blow.
Yeah. Why are we even having this debate? This is a waste of time. We're wasting everyone's time.
All right. Well, for the last clip, then we'll play this one, which is about how Biden feels about the next debate they're scheduled to have.
Do you value the democracy in your policy?
I hope he'll debate me. I wouldn't be surprised if he was.
If he's in, will you commit to debating him?
I'm committing now, absolutely, whether he's in or not.
Biden doesn't even know he already debated him once.
He doesn't know if Trump would debate him. It's like, no.
I'm committing now, absolutely, whether he's in or not. If he's not, we'll staple a printout of his face onto a mannequin, and I'll debate that as effectively as I debated him the first time.
Yeah. At this point, Trump doesn't need to debate him, but I don't think it can do anything but help Trump if he does debate him. If it's anybody else, there's no reason to debate. You've already knocked out their nominee.
I don't know, because if Trump debates him again, they might try to pull it just looks like bullying thing, you know?
He didn't bully him though. He literally just stood by and let Joe talk and
I
made
think
faces like, what the hell is he saying?
I think Trump's smart enough where there would be a point in the debate where he would be looking over and be like, Joe, you need to talk with your family.
Go take a nap.
I care about you, Joe. I care about this country. You can't do this. And look right at the moderators and be like, look, I feel bad for this man. It's not fair for me to be here. It's abuse. I think we should.
Why are you doing this to him? Why do you keep making him do this?
He's gonna he'll be the next knockout blow where he's gonna be magnanimous, where he's like, this is sad. I can't do this. This isn't fair. It's not right for us. I think we should all just stop, and he'll walk off the stage.
That'd be a huge win, actually.
I don't think there's a chance in hell that the debate happens either way.
I mean, depends. I mean, literally, if they have enough of those in stock for
literally if they've got depends
for Biden to be able to be up there.
Here's another thing, though, right? With that kind of dementia, it accelerates. Like it doesn't. Like, there's good days, there's bad days. It's like there are moments of lucidity, but they become fewer and farther between every time. And it continues to accelerate.
It reaches an exponential growth level.
Yeah, and at the rate he's going in a month, I don't know how much of him is going to be left.
We're going to have a primetime debate at 1 p.m, so it's in his awake time.
Well, no, then it'll be nap. Then when he performs poorly, he'll be like, this is normally when I napped. So I probably should have scheduled it and prepared better.
It needed to be 3 o'clock, and it's got a hard cutoff of 4.
And he's like, I need my juice box. Please give me my juice box during the middle of my debate. This is juice box time.
Can you help me with the straw and the Capri Sun?
Come on, man.
I hate having to turn it over and stick it in the bottom instead of through the hole.
He's gonna be like, "Who gave me a paper straw? Those dog-faced pony soldiers."
The dog-faced pony soldiers. I don't work for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be an interesting. Like, I know that Tom Fitton has said that he thinks Monday is gonna be Resignation Day. I still don't see that, just because there would be so much going on in DC if that was actually genuinely already known. So
yeah, Fitton said that. Other people have said, and I think Levin has said, it'll be like 2 weeks. That's how long it'll play out in the media from the debate until it's kind of forced. So we'll see. But at this point, the media can't turn around. They've already said everything that they've said. So they can't turn around and start supporting him again. They've already lost so much credibility with even the normies at this point that you can't turn around and say, "Yep, Biden's fine."
You know,
We're going with it.
you saying that makes me think of a great like montage someone should do for a joke song, which would be all the footage of Joe just wandering on stages with what is it, the song Turn Around. Just change the lyrics.
Total eclipse of the heart.
Total eclipse of the heart, like total eclipse of the brain.
Then roll into You Spin Me Right Round.
Yeah. Oh, that would be great. I think what we'll see in the next week, if there's actually moves being made, you're going to see some of the people who are in line to take spots try to put themselves out there more prominently. Newsom's already doing a little of that, but you're going to see Hillary will start appearing back on events. You'll see Whitmer will try to be doing things to get on public, like whoever's doing the Sunday traditional shows hard the next couple weeks. If you see someone who manages to be on like ABC, NBC, and CBS's show in the same week, that's somebody who's pushing for exposure to make a move.
I don't think they're pushing for the presidency, though, except for Hillary. I
Yeah,
think Newsom and Whitmer will be pushing for the VP spot because I don't think they actually want. I mean, it's political suicide at this point to try to put together a campaign in 4 months and then get trounced by Trump.
Being a losing
He's
VP
still
candidate
posing higher
is
than everybody.
You know, being a losing VP candidate pretty much ends your political career too.
True,
with
but if
with
they
the
think
exception
Hillary
of
can do it,
yeah, with
or
the exception of Tim Kaine, who just sits as a senator who does nothing.
they can also. This would be a different situation, I think, because normally being a losing VP is a death sentence for your career, but in this one they can be like, hey, I was called upon, we had to replace the nominee last second, we didn't get a chance to actually do the normal campaigning we would do. So at this point it's just getting name recognition more out there, setting up for the next election.
I do think whoever gets picked as VP, if Kamala gets elevated, has a pretty easy road to blame Kamala, for whatever shortfalls that happen.
And
she's going to be
her
terrible.
Immediately.
Yeah.
Everybody's making fun of your song selection because they're like, Joe Biden definitely doesn't have bright eyes.
Yeah.
But
no, you would change the lyrics to make it a spoof. You would do like dull eyes or
yeah, Monkey said dull blue gray eyes.
Yeah. Did Adam Carolla confront Newsom? Oh, I did see that, and it was fan-freaking-tastic.
Was that from a while ago? Like during COVID?
I don't know that he confronted Newsom, but like he went off on Newsom. Like talked about how Newsom is just the worst and California is ruined and he effed everything up. It was like a full-on tirade.
So one last prediction thing. If Kamala ends up being elevated, if Joe resigns, Kamala takes over, I think that the move for Trump's VP moves into wild card, and he might pick Tulsi just so she can be there reminding Kamala of how she knifed her in those debates and ended her. Like, have Tulsi show up in the white pantsuit just to really drive it home.
One more song. When Dr. Jill Biden does come out to guide her husband when he goes into Roomba mode, then you switch to I Just Died in Your Arms Tonight.
And since it's Joe, wear my sunglasses at night. I don't think Tulsi's a good pick for him. Because I think we will see the John Wilkes Booth and
Carson is who I think Carson is looking more and more like the pick at this point. There's some indicators.
I'm still leaning towards Vivek or
I would love
JD
Vivek.
Vance. I would love Vivek. I would love Vivek as press secretary. But that's way beneath him. But I think it's going to be somebody younger.
Secretary?
What's
Secretary of the Treasury?
Commerce and Treasury are both kind of.
Yeah, I could see Vivek doing well there too.
If he wants to take any of those jobs. He makes a lot of money not being a politician. He's got
Yeah,
plenty
I
of
just
time to
want
do
him to get
whatever he
himself
wants during the
positioned to run
campaign.
for president next time.
You also have to look at the fact that Teal is trying to position people into the political influence sphere. He financed Vance. He tried to get Blake Masters in there, and now Masters is running for Congress, and he has a solid shot at that one. I think
Yeah.
so. Vivek has. I think Teal would impress upon him that it would be good for everybody if he took a government position.
Right.
Oh,
Also-
dude, a Vivek and Harris debate would be entertaining because Vivek, nothing's off limits. We know he'll go there.
Well, the funny thing will be if it is Kamala, does Trump just say, "Yeah, you're debating my VP. I'm not going to debate you. You can deal with whoever I appoint below me."
Kamala, I know you're used to working with people below people, so here you can have this one.
Shine up those knee pads.
He'll bring? Hey, Willie Brown, can you attend? Or did he pass away? I don't even remember at this point.
I don't know. He gets brought up so much that he's got to be dead, or he would be.
I think
fuming
Newsom
every now and
replaced
then.
him as mayor of San Francisco. It's all interrelated. It's like the MCU of political corruption in California.
The worst timeline.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think. Did we have any other memes or video to cover? I think we went over the polling.
I think we got everything that I had. So, and we're at right about our hour and a half, which we're trying to keep this show to an hour and a half every Sunday morning. So, I think we're good. So, what do you guys got coming up this week?
Slender, are you going to be doing gaming stuff?
I'm still trying to get Ascendant Arcade kind of up and running. Maybe find a specific time slot where I run it at least once a week. In addition to other little things here and there, probably gonna take a whole bunch of clips that I got from our Chained Together episode last night and put those up for everyone's review because they're funny. They're real fun. A lot of mad making excuses in those clips.
I looked at the chat. The jump
I
button
forgot
didn't
there
work.
was a laser.
Oh, yeah. We'll be
So those
releasing
will be
a lot of
fun.
clips from that because I've got some too. So,
Yeah. And then beyond that, just the usual Ascendant Art podcast, 9 p.m. Eastern on Friday nights.
Yep.
cool.
Good times.
As for me, let's see, Comics Division, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and we will have a Christian panel this week on Carrie Smith's channel. We're going to cover Sound of Hope. So that should be interesting. I haven't gotten to see it yet, but will be seeing it. I know Comics Division said he really liked it, and that kind of surprised me. But apparently it's a very well-made movie from Angel Studios. So we'll be checking that out Wednesday on the Christian panel at 5 p.m. Mountain. And then, Ascendant Art on Friday. And then I think we're going to finally do the wrap-up show for Bourbon and Borden this Saturday night. So close out the season, go through a little bit of the free agency, all that kind of stuff. So
you got the draft to cover now too.
Yeah, but the draft in the NHL, it's just like, all right, maybe the top 6 to 10 players will actually play in the NHL in the next season. The rest of them, it's just development for, a few more years. The draft in the NHL is really not all that great, except for the top few picks. So, but free agency has been crazy. Nashville has made themselves much, much better this year. So we'll get into that, but thank you all for being here. Had quite a few people in chat today, and we'll be doing this every Sunday at this time, trying to keep it to an hour and a half, not take up too much of your Sunday. Go to early church, come watch a show, and you're caught up for the week. So we'll catch y'all later. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.